Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Blissfully Ambitious podcast. I am your host, Ashlina, here with number 3 of the self-love series. I love these episodes. They have been so much fun to create. And I think I wanted to really create this series because I find that the self-love sort of industry or narrative is a little confusing sometimes for women, and I always get so many questions about what does self-love really look like. So that's what this series is really all about. Today, we are going to dive into overcoming setbacks. Our first episode was really discovering and deciding and knowing you are not your past. And then in the second episode, we sort of covered what it looks like being human, right? And being multidimensional. You know, we try to fit ourselves into these boxes, and it's sort of the antithesis of self-love instead of just loving all of us, every single part of ourselves, the good parts, the bad parts, the sad parts, the great parts, all the different things, all facets of us as human beings, as individuals. And today we're going to dive into how to handle setbacks, how to handle disappointments, how to handle when manifestations don't go your way, or something you've been hoping for or looking for hasn't come to fruition yet. Maybe you have been trying to get a job and you keep getting rejected from companies, or maybe you've been trying to get your business off the ground and nobody is biting at your goods or your services. Or maybe you are rejected by a person in your romantic life, or a friendship has sort of gone awry. These things happen in life, and there's so many more things that are setbacks in life, right? There's tragedy, there's loss, there's failure, there's just like a ton of things. And life is meant to have these ups and these downs, and it is in the downs when you find the biggest growth. And I know it sounds so cheesy to say that, but one thing my grandmother used to always tell me that I really swear by is she would always say, "This too shall pass." I can remember, going through difficult times with my parents or just family or different things, and I'd be crying, and I would go sit in her lap, and she would put her hand on my head and like pet my hair, and it was just so loving and caring, and she would always was like unfazed by the drama of it all. And I'd be like, "Can you believe this happened? Can you believe they did this? Can you believe that?" And she would just calm me, and she would just say, "This too shall pass." And it was the most wise advice. And so something I've really come to learn in life, because life is full of setbacks. Life is full of disappointments. Life is full of rejections and things not always going your way. You kind of have to say to yourself, the human experience is always going to have these setbacks, rejections, disappointments. But the thing I want to always remember is that the pain is temporary. Discomfort does not last forever. And part of self-love is knowing how to handle a setback, knowing how to handle a breakdown, or that crying on the bathroom floor moment, right? Or that moment where you feel like all hope is lost, or you feel really scared, or you find yourself like riddled with fearful thoughts or worried thoughts or anxious thoughts, and you're just like in a spiral. Because things happen, right? Things don't go your way. Manifestations don't always go the way that you want them to go. But the part that is the most important is it is the knowing that this too shall pass. It's literally like my favorite words of wisdom ever. It's just such a good reminder that discomfort is always temporary. It's kind of like if you can imagine to yourself and you can decide this certainty in life, like what I know for sure is that no matter how dark it gets, the sun will always rise again, right? You can always count on the sunrise and the sun setting. You can always count that it will be dark and it will be light. There are always the rise and the fall of the sun. That is like something that you can count on, that you can know Absolutely, for sure. So if you can take that certainty into your life and into your heart, and knowing that even if you have a dark moment, the sun will come out again. Light will come in again. A new window or opportunity will come again. That pain and that discomfort will not last forever. What that does is it softens you and it helps you embrace yourself a little bit more. It helps you comfort yourself a little bit more. And this is how you learn to self-soothe. And that self-soothing yourself through these discomforts is what self-love is, right? It's like that inner nurturing, that inner mothering, that side of you that is able to hold yourself and be there for yourself through the discomfort, through the uncomfortable pain or emotions. This has happened to me in life. I feel like when it comes to like breakups, like in romantic relationships and breakups, like I've had many through my life, and you find that point at the end of that relationship, it's like, it feels like a breakdown, right? But then there always comes the breakthrough. And you never know when it's going to come. You never know when that next bright day will come, but you know it will come. And so in the meantime, how do you handle yourself? How do you care for yourself? And if you are on the path of self-love, you're actually going to have a glow up, right? I've experienced this after breakups for me. I have gone immediately sort of into a glow up. You put your focus back on yourself, you start taking care of yourself, and you start doing the things to nurture and grow yourself back up to your highest self, to your goddess glow, to whatever it is. I can remember in 2007, I was living in Los Angeles, and I was working in hotel development, and I was working in Beverly Hills, and I had this incredible job, and I was absolutely in love with life. It was so great. And I was building this hotel in Beverly Hills. I was working on the development team, and I just was obsessed with my job. And came then that 2008 crash, right, when things kind of like the economy tanked. And so pretty much everyone at my company got laid off. And it was a dark, kind of scary time. It was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do next? How am I going to afford rent? What am I going to do? Like, I left my industry. I was really wanting to work in interior design, but I had gotten a really good high-paying job in real estate development, which I got to work closely on building a hotel and being part of the green design team. So it was like the closest I had gotten to my job and in my career, my dream career. Anyway, I get laid off. And at the same time, the architect that I worked with in the firm had also gotten laid off. And they sort of gave us these like big bonus checks after we got laid off. And we got the opportunity to go to this other hotel development in Cabo, in Mexico. And so the architect and I, he was gay. He was very, very amazing architect who did some incredible celebrity homes. He was so fabulous. And we got to go, because we were like a little team, we got to go to this incredible hotel in Cabo and check out the development. I mean, it was great. It was amazing. So we go on this trip, and on the airplane, on this trip, I met one of the loves of my life. This was many years ago. This was a relationship I had that was so amazing and magical and dreamy, and I loved him. We were together for a couple of years. It was amazing. But it was like I got laid off, and then I got to go on this trip, and on the trip, I ended up meeting the love of my life. And, you know, at the time he was, right? And it was this most beautiful falling in love story of how we met on the plane to Mexico. It was like so great. So it was like just after this really scary thing to happen, not knowing, you're upset, you're kind of not knowing what to do, you're not knowing where to go, you're not knowing what's next. Then it's like a rainbow appears and everything aligns for this next thing for you to play out. And soon after that, I ended up working for an art gallery in Beverly Hills. Like, I had made so many connections in the area, and I knew I still wanted to work like kind of in the interior design realm. So I went to work for this art gallery. It was so much fun. I got to be a little art gallery chick. And then I started a blog. I started a blog, and I was writing a blog about my cute little apartment in LA and this cool job that I was working at, this art gallery. And I just started blogging, and it's how I started blogging at the Decorista. And honestly, my blog changed my life. So right after this crazy setback, like losing your job, not knowing where you're going, not knowing if you're going to be able to pay rent, going through really just like isolating times, I can remember really feeling like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then it was like a flood of events, a series of events where all of these amazing things began to happen to me because I remember what I did after the setback. You know, I am very I've always been into The Secret and vision boards and habits and rituals and routines that help you become the next level version of yourself and help you really like take care of yourself and not go on that downward spiral. You see, self-love is like how you get back up. It's what you do in the down times that takes you to your next up time, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple of things. I'm going to give you how I would use habits and sort of rituals to start up-leveling through the down times, through the setbacks. Number one, you always need to give yourself space to feel the feelings. Now, I wasn't always very good at this. This is something that I've learned over the years. But if you don't want to program yourself for low vibes or negativity and not really self-love, you have to allow yourself to feel the feelings. So if you hold back on letting your body express emotion, like crying or getting really upset, or maybe you just need to vent out your feelings. I'm very big on journaling. You guys know I love journaling, and I often use journaling especially in the down times, okay, in the hard times, through the setbacks. Because when you can vent it all out on paper instead of venting it out to everyone around you, it's more therapeutic. It's more healing because you're doing it with yourself. You're using that time with yourself. You're not distracting yourself with other people's opinions and other people's energy. You're like taking care of yourself by purging out those emotions, letting out your feelings, and knowing that you are a resilient person. You are human. You are absolutely resilient. It's not going to kill you. The pain is not going to kill you. It is okay to experience the pain and the discomfort, because in every experience of the pain and the discomfort, there is gold to be had. There is a lesson there. There is something that you get to grow with. There's like, if you think of it as like a video game, you like get the gold coin. When you look for the gold, when you look for the lesson, when you look for the growth opportunity through whatever it is that you're going through, right? They always say, like, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backward. Being in the unknown can be very scary, but allow yourself to make friends with that fear, make friends with your feelings, make friends with the pain, and just sort of allow yourself to be in it. And then you self-soothe your way out of it. That is true self-love. That's when you need true self-love the most. Number two, stop looking around you. Stop looking to the left. Stop looking to the right. Stop looking at everybody else. Stop comparing your life. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing, where they are. This is one that really always trips me up, even still, and I have to like take my mind out of it. I'll look at what's happening for this person or that person and where they're going and how great they're doing. And, you know, it can be tricky because when you're focused so much on somebody else's path, you knock yourself off of your path in the moment that you do that. You have got to stay focused on your path. You've got to stay in your lane. You have got to focus on your life, on your vision, where you are going, what you are creating. Because when you are focusing your thoughts on the other people around you, the people in your life, then they become the main characters of your movie, right? Your life, the movie. You need to be the main character of your life, the movie. You have to focus on your vision, what you want, where you're going, what you're creating, how you are going to overcome this setback. And why? This setback was on purpose. There is purpose for this pain. There is purpose for this because I was meant to grow. I meant to learn something, and I meant to move forward. I meant to become a better person because of this. That's what you have to tell yourself. That's how you love yourself through it. And so then, number 3, you begin to get consistent and focused with your habits and your rituals. So who are you going to be? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do next? You've got to get yourself busy. I can remember when I, had lost my job and I was really depressed, or if I've gone through a breakup and you're just after it, you can't sit at home and worry or overthink and get depressed. You have to get out there. You've got to get yourself out there. You've got to get up. You've got to get moving. You've got to get doing things. You've got to get taking action. You've got to try new classes or go start looking for a different job. Maybe you need to be networking with people. I remember I got the art gallery job because I was walking around Beverly Hills one day and I loved going in the art gallery. And so I went in, and I think I'd met them at an event or something. And I walked in and I said, look, I just got laid off and I'm looking for a new job. I'd love the opportunity to see if you guys are hiring. And I remember I got the job on the spot. It was great. I just got out and I began talking and I put myself in a different position. We took that trip, right? I went on that trip to Cabo and was open and was just talking to people at the airport. And I ended up meeting my next love. I can remember when I started my blog, immediately I started telling everyone about my blog. I would find other bloggers and reach out and try to connect. I just remember putting one foot in front of the other and putting myself out there and going and doing things. I would get up. I can remember I would have my favorite yoga class I would go to in LA, and it was just so good. So good for my soul, moving my body, connecting with that sort of mindfulness. I started eating better. Every time I experience a setback, I began to go all in on my inner nourishment, on the self-care, taking care of my home, organizing my things. And I ended up writing, my blog was about me decorating this apartment. I lived in West Hollywood, and I lived with my cousin, and we lived in this really shanty apartment in West Hollywood. It was really gross. There was a bar, 70s or maybe even 60s or something. There was a mirrored wet bar in the bedroom, in the master bedroom where my room was. And it was just so weird, not attractive. But I painted all the walls and brought in low lighting and plants, and we just did cool things with that space. We put up faux wallpaper and curtains we made it so cute. And blogging about that apartment is how the Decorista, my blog, started. If you guys are familiar with my blog, my interior design blog I had. And it grew so fast. It just really took off. And I can just remember I was consistent. I was on top of it, and I was going all in on my vision, on my beliefs, on just taking care of myself and putting one foot in front of the other. Girl, your setback is temporary. Let me just remind you. You have to learn to love yourself through the hard times, through the times that feel scary, the times that feel lonely, the times that it feels really out of control. Now, number 4 is my tip for taking back control. And here's how I would take back control. I would grab my journal. I probably have about 45 million journals over my course of my time. I have little diaries from even when I was just so young. But I would grab a journal and I would begin writing out what I wanted to create, what I wanted to manifest, the life that I wanted. And I can remember there were exercises that would be write out your perfect day. What would a day in your dream life look like? And I can remember very specifically, because this was a time when I still had jobs. I still worked. I was working at an art gallery, or I worked for the hotel development firm. And it wasn't but a year after this. But I would write this down in my journal. I would write, I want to have the kind of lifestyle and the job, the career, where I can wake up, I can make my health a priority, I can have a smoothie, I can go work out, and I can start my day around 10 a.m. Like, I remember writing this down specifically. I need to go find this journal. And then I work on something that I'm madly in love with, that I'm very, very passionate about. And I get to finish my day a little early and maybe go to the beach or go to the museum or go play tennis or go do something that I love to do. I still get to enjoy my day, because I remember when I would work, sometimes you would work till 6 or 7 and it would get dark, and then you'd have to go home and just like get ready for the next day. And I can remember that like career, corporate kind of career life for me was just so, I just did not like it. I never wanted that life where it was like the same thing every single day. And you just like go home, go to bed, wake up, go to work, that kind of vibe. And I knew I wanted different for myself. I wanted the freedom. I wanted financial freedom. I wanted excitement. I wanted to be able to travel and just do so many things. And within the year, I think, I had manifested the most amazing job at a celebrity interior design firm in Beverly Hills, and was working my dream, literally living like the dream, because their sort of schedule was super laid back and easy, and we just free flowed through the day, and I would get to go shopping all over town at interior design stores and furniture stores, and I just like fell into my bliss. And I would get up early and I would blog, and I would have this blog. It just like, it all fell together. And then shortly after that, I moved to New York and built a career for myself that I absolutely loved, and things were so great. And it just like, I can remember journaling about it and writing down my vision, writing down exactly what I wanted, and it ended up happening. And even since then, I mean, this was 2008, 2009. So it's been many, many years since that transformation, but it's been the same story for me time and time and time again. Things happen in life. You've got ups, you've got downs, you've got changes, but we're always manifesting, and we're always navigating, and we're always moving through it. And the most important thing to remember is how you handle yourself during the setback determines how long you stay there, right? That's the most important thing. So that is why today on day 3, a huge core aspect of self-love is shifting yourself into self-love through the setbacks, in the harder times. It's easy to love yourself and to love life when things are going really well, but how are you able to handle it when things are not going so well, when there is a setback? And I just want to remind you, the discomfort is temporary. And if you want to shorten the process, then you dive in deep to the things I mentioned in this episode. And I also would like to invite you into my membership, into the House of Bliss, because everything in there, all the workshops, all the videos, all the workbooks, all of the content in there is meant for that. It is meant for you to come out through the other side. It gives you the habits, the rituals, the mindset shifts, the journal prompts, the things that you need to get you out of whatever setback we go through in life, because sometimes they can happen weekly, sometimes they can happen daily, sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's seasonal, right? You just never know. So keeping in yourself in a place where you can be consistent with that self-love, consistent with those things that help support you through the ups and through the downs in life. So I obviously always have link in bio. You can always come join the membership. I would love to meet you there and get to know you more and have you as part of my community, of course. But understanding how to love yourself better through the discomfort is key. And I know you can do this. I know you've got this. So if you find or know a friend who might need to hear this episode, feel free to pass it along. I would love for this message to really get out there. If anybody needs it, I know if you come across this episode, maybe it's for you, and maybe this is just what you needed to hear. I really felt the divine speaking through me today. So thank you for listening to this episode today. And until next time, come say hi on Instagram, on TikTok. You could email me, come hang out in the membership. I would love to get to know you guys. A 5-star review is always like the best compliment that you could ever give me, and it helps get my message out there even more. So I would appreciate that too. Let me know if you love this episode. You can tag me at Ashley Nicoposta on Instagram and let me know you're listening. I love to share those, and I love to connect on there too. I hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. And until next time, love yourself and stay blissful.